DC here with 745 Podcast. Welcome to the table. I wanted to take the time out to share a little insight that I think and believe that is very important regarding the Karmelo Anthony and Metcalf case. This segment here is not to weigh in on whether Anthony was wrongly convicted, nor if Metcalf should have done whatever. My job here is not to decide that. While I do have opinions about it, that's not the purpose of this podcast segment. If anything, there is plenty of material and ideas and opinions spreading across social media and in the news. So you don't need that from me. But what I do want to do is address the academic side, the school side, the public education side. I want to address the district, the campus, and administrators all the same. But before I do that, I want to share a segment or an excerpt from a blog posted online. And whether this is entirely true or not, it does help kind of guide the thought process in how things should look. Long story short, a guy went with his wife to a football game. I'm not sure if it's a FISD football game or not. However, after this event, based on his experience at that football game, he had questions. And he said he spoke with an officer or an insider, and this officer gave him some feedback and some information that really kind of changed how he thought about things. He said, "We were told that they, the police officers, are there for the presence and general safety of the people in attendance, everyone but student athletes, whether anything should be needed when it comes to criminal laws. If the police were present that day, they would have been on the opposite side or homestands, as that is where the general public is watching from. As for the athletes, the insider told us they are sitting in groups on the visitor side and probably have no idea that officers are there. Based on current policies, our insider told us this incident still would have happened." The insider went on to say each school is in charge of their student athletes, which includes an administrator from each school and any of those school track coaches. They are in charge of the students and athletes since it is still a school activity. They went on to say that this means no police responsibility at all. They went on to say it's just like in the schools, SROs, or school resource officers, enforce the criminal aspects only. School rule enforcement is up to the school administrators and staff. Varsity football is the only FISD sport that uses any walk-through metal detectors, and that is because of the venues they use like Toyota and Ford Centers. Lastly, they told us that Coach K brings in security staff to use hand wands and only for football. No athletes anywhere in the district are scanned or wanded for weapons in any sport. So even based on this presents a gap, not only in policy, but the expectation for safety. Frisco ISD has a blurb on their website, and it says in Frisco ISD, the safety of students, staff, and visitors is our top priority, and we take this responsibility very seriously. And it says our comprehensive security program addresses prevention, intervention, and student assistance, preparedness, emergency response, and building security. It says that FISD routinely reviews safety and security procedures and makes adjustments when necessary. That means we're constantly exploring new and creative ways to enhance existing security measures and adopting those policies and protocols proven to be effective in reducing risk. It is a team effort. We rely on the continued support of students, parents, and the community to keep our schools safe. We work closely with our local police and fire departments to coordinate prevention and responsive activities, perform regular security audits, and provide frequent trainings to all employees on security issues. All means all. And I'm pretty sure when we talk about all employees, they're more than likely talking about the behavior threat assessment, which is a proactive measure once someone makes a threat to harm themselves or someone else. But we are missing a big piece when it comes to safety of our students, especially at the high school level and at these games. Because now we're asking administrators to be the sole security at these games, which now we're looking at tired administrators or whoever's on duty to come and monitor 1,000+ kids. So the question that we should really be asking ourselves outside of the details of that case is who was on duty? What was the expectations for the students? Are there any? If the evidence shows that Anthony was doing no wrong by being under that tent, then that means that that's not an expectation that was enforced prior to this tragedy. What if the school, the coach, the district made a policy that prevented students from going to other tents or mingling with students outside of their campus? I know that's hard to do, but I'm just saying, intentionality. These two high schools are less than 20 minutes away from each other in Frisco. So this wouldn't be the first time that they have met. They have met at different football games and meets and competitions through UIL. So you can imagine that being that close, there must be some form of rivalry. What if the policy stated that if somebody outside of your school comes to your tent, to report it to an administrator? This could possibly have been prevented. So we need to really have a reform of policy, because now we're putting all the weight on two 17-year-old boys or three 17-year-old boys to be responsible, watch themselves. When you know good and well, when you were that age, you were irresponsible too. And then the policy says that it's a team effort. We rely on the continued support of students, parents, and community. Okay. How? Do you ask them? Do they wear a badge? Do they have on a vest? If they come to watch their kids compete, are they also required to manage students? I'm asking for a more detailed oriented policy to prevent certain things. I'm asking for administrators to pay attention. I'm asking for superintendents to pay attention, because this could have happened anywhere. So, some of the questions that this blog addressed or asked was there a police presence that day, and if so, were they only on the side where the general public sits? Who was the administrator assigned to each school that day? If the track coaches are on the field, then who is overseeing the students while in the bleachers? Will the policies change, and will they have hand wanding at all events? Will it include the general public and students? Why is a coach responsible for bringing in security? Why does the district not have district policies of when police presence is required? Where was the administrators, coaches, and trainers in relations to the tents? Once again, this is not a segment to weigh in on who was right and who was wrong. This segment here is to bring awareness that we're focusing on the wrong thing when it comes to our policies. And although this is devastating, and I do not want to minimize the impact it has, where do we go from here? This is an angle that I have not seen much footage on, posts, nor articles. So I ask all superintendents, school administrators, and parents and students to work together to not only reform the policies around sports, but any place where they have large gatherings, to work differently with the police departments to help them be more available in prevention. You know, I've seen better security at clubs. When you go to the airport and you see police officers walking around, that's a preventive measure. When you go to a concert with your favorite artist, you know you're not getting in there with anything. So why? The most precious piece of mankind, our children, don't get that same respect, that same safety. Very disheartening. Two lives destroyed. Something that could have been prevented happened. And I don't just blame the kids, because kids will be kids, whether you like to admit that or not. Self-control is learned over time. Some of y'all are 40 years old and still do not have self-control. So I blame the policies, and I blame that district. That's who I blame. I blame that district. Because if any of those policies were in place, this case would have went differently. I guarantee you. This is DC. Once again, at 745 Podcast. From the classroom to the community. Keep changing the game. AM or PM, it don't matter. Tune in.